It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Friday, firearms technology and the gun industry. On Friday's show, it's not just the new gizmo or latest model. We talk about companies, the industry, where we came from, and what's next in materials, technology, and design.
And welcome everybody to our weekly wrap-up of Second Amendment stuff. So I'm putting up the poll right now. Great week for 2A. Was it a good week for 2A? Then I get two more options. So let's choose It was an okay week for 2A. I guess I don't need a question mark there. And then, all right. So now we can let everybody decide what they feel about how it was for 2A this week. And I'll let everybody get a little sneak peek of what I've been working on over here. Listening to some live shows, some good ones today and this week. And one of the things I'd like to do when I'm working on them is work on projects. And this is one of them. This is it's going to be like a poster view of all the stuff that happens throughout the year. And then since you have to do this thing at some point, and the problem is if you do it in the beginning of the year, then the stuff at the end of the year, you don't know when the dates are. So if I do it right now, then I get the dates for next year up here, and I get the dates for this year down here. And then we get one image. It's not finished yet, but one image that'll have the information for all the major things that happen in the gun community or in the firearms industry. So thanks to our Patreons for giving us time to work on stuff like that and this show. So what we're looking at is, why don't we just go over to the Patreon page and check it out. This is the blog basically of, here we go. This is the blog of the same thing that we're looking at here in YouTube in the description of this video, except over on Patreon, we can put a lot more fanciness to it, so it's a lot easier to read. So we'll go over to Patreon and read it. We will watch the poll, however, over on YouTube's. And if you're paying attention to this live, thank you for joining. And we always devote about a quarter to a third of our screen here to watch the comments, so that this is a live participatory event and not so much a lecture, right? So thanks everybody for showing up live. We'll take a look at who's been hanging out. We got a little bit of a late start today because of all the stuff that's going on. And we got DJ out there. Good evening. G23 and Chris, 740. And if anybody else jumps in, we'll say hey, and says hey. We'll see him out there. Otherwise, we're digging into the Patreon blog. So we'll move that over. This gives me another opportunity to say thank you to the 150 or so people that support what we're doing here. Gives us the opportunity to keep the websites running and the software paid for, and then to devote time to 2A projects throughout the week and a wrap-up like this, so that it's like an extract or a summary of everything that was good, that was devoted to the Second Amendment. There's tons of gun stuff out there. You can go find that out also. So let's see, we got Every Second Matters. This was this week, and it was a pretty decent one. I posted earlier in the week on our Patreon blog here about who all we invite. We invite about 35, maybe now into the 40s. Now I'm back. Am I back now? Are we back? We're back on the air. Testing. Okay. So thanks again to everybody that showed up for Every Second Matters. And like I say, it was a pretty decent one. We had DJ, Tony, Jeff from Gear Report. Echo was in there the whole time. Brooke showed up, Clover, Rob from Tusk, and we had a pretty decent conversation. I appreciate everybody letting me keep the focus on things that I think are important, or that they think are important, they wanted to talk about, rather than the obvious urgent things that are kind of constantly on everybody's thing. You're not getting anything. How about you sit down? Just being a pest right now. So we have Every Second Matters is a project that's been going on since 2013. And it is an awareness campaign on the second day of each month to talk about our Second Amendment, to have a conversation, to do something, to host something. Everybody gets a little creative with their ways that they approach the concept of awareness of what our Second Amendment protects. And we'll look forward to next month. We did spruce up, I guess I could mention, we spruced up the YouTube channel. So if you go over to the YouTube channel, there's playlists for each of the years. So 2022, 2021, 2019, 18, all the way back to 2013. And then I went out and did searches, and I've added every Second Matter related thing to the playlists. So that's her getting petted right now. She's being a pest for some reason. Somebody must be smacking or making a noise that I don't hear. This is the way she acts when she hears fireworks. So I updated the Every Second Matters website or YouTube channel. So if you want to go check out the YouTube channel, you can look back at old Every Second Matters. If you find something interesting from an old Every Second Matters, please make a timestamp in the comments. Make a timestamp in the comments. That'll let the person whose video it is know that somebody's watching it, right? And appreciate that they hosted it and still have it up there. But it'll also let other people find it, and then even make a video about it, perhaps. If it's a good point or a project that should happen, or maybe you found the beginning of something that did happen, you're going to find all kinds of interesting stuff over the however many years it's been since 2013. And every single month since 2013, some number of people participate in their own way with Every Second Matters. So there's a lot of stuff out there. All right, then we get to Brooke, who joined us on Every Second Matters from A Great Start Shooting School's channel here on YouTube. And she has a consistent effort to provide awareness on suicide prevention every Saturday. So we all know that we'd like to enjoy our property in peace. And one of the things that works against us seems to be the people that have an agenda to remove our property from our possession and the ability to get that property. And they almost always use deaths to justify their new infringement of the week. And if we want to have more effective and more useful conversations, debates, and arguments with them, then learn some other things than just my property and my rights. And some of those are, let's work together to address the actual issue. And if the issue is deaths, then 2 out of every 3 deaths from a firearm is suicide. And we can prevent that, not from taking away one item from someone in stress, but helping the person in stress. Maybe eliminating or alleviating the situations or the issues that give them stress, which are almost always, relate to a couple of factors. And we can have conversations that go completely away from our property with people who really want to address the situation. And then we can move on from there. But Brooke does a consistent effort every Saturday to offer in a short format, quick live video, some tools for your toolbox, some ways to address it, some ways to articulate the position, and some ways to challenge others who might just be dealing with regurgitated boilerplate that's given to them from the people that gave them their marching orders. And when you're dealing with a drone, you don't need to know the best martial arts techniques. You can simply just challenge their programming, right? Challenge their what they expect, and what you end up with is a win, because now they go back and challenge their leaders who can't deal with them. They cast them aside, and often those people either lose the fight completely, lose their interest in the fight because they see that their side was not interested in saving lives, or they take up the fight and actually go save some lives instead of just going after our property. So there's a tremendous win in having some resources to challenge people's arguments instead of just confronting their arguments the way they expect. They also had Brooke also did a Random Thought Thursday, which was sort of a quick video on perspective. What is wrong with this puppy? Was there some reason somebody shooting off fireworks tonight? Why would somebody be shooting off fireworks? It's a random day. Then we get to The Reload. So The Reload is a podcast, a blog, a newsletter. I guess it's all three. It's an investigative journalist who is focused on Second Amendment and goes out and does research similar to some of the other ones we've seen out there, like Crump or like Professor Yamane, and the guys from the Second Amendment Foundation's podcast, John Richardson, or the other guy, slowfacts.org, Rob Morris. So, those guys are all in the game a long time, longer than The Reload. However, The Reload is getting it done more professionally and more consistently, and looking like a bigger splash. So they've got a $10 subscription over on their channel. So we went over today and subscribed to the Reload blog or whatever, the podcast. So in the future, we'll be definitely including it, since I'm paying for it now. Or actually, my Patreons are paying for it. So some of that cash that the Patreons throw at us gets thrown right back out there at other projects. Now, this week they had Philip Smith from NAAGA, NAAGA, and they talked about the ATF nominee and some other stuff, how Philip was misquoted, I guess, intentionally misquoted in a recent article, and how that turned into a big thing on Jared's podcast. Oh my goodness. Then we get to Professor Yamane, who had a video here while he was on TV, and he was on some kind of news program, maybe NPR. It was called The Why, and they were asking him about firearms. And I think that they really had an agenda, and they were looking for him to say, yeah, your agenda is right on. Like, I agree with you. However, he did a really good job, I think, as far as bringing it back on track and offering realistic points or positions to her basically demeaning sort of suggested. She was sort of setting up the softball for him to hate on guns, and instead he showed her why that was inappropriate to suggest such a softball question in a nice way. And I think it's worth watching. A bunch of people don't like this guy, so I probably won't watch it, but it was okay. So The only thing I had about it, though, is I appreciate that he's doing it because nobody else is. However, he keeps calling it gun culture 2.0, which I don't agree with. And I wish he would have used 4.0. And he answered me on that one. We had a comment, or I made a comment similar to this. This might actually be my comment on his video. And he replied. So maybe one day we'll have a conversation about it. So I think he's doing good strides in this concept of getting them to understand that gun ownership is a dynamic or a changing thing of our culture. But it's ridiculous to think that in however many years the country's old, that this is only our second iteration of it. I mean, there's nothing that we're in our second iteration of, not even smartphones or internet. So why would we in our second iteration of gun ownership? But I like what he's saying, and at least that thought, whatever you say, that concept gets across to them, and they're able to have an effective conversation. Now, whether or not she understood any of that stuff, I don't know. So that'll be the thing. And who knows what their audience understands. I've seen some stuff. I have attempt every once in a while to watch things from, what do you call it, like the left side. And it's tough. Like they definitely, especially nowadays with all the current thing of the day, they've got some ideas over there that are as crazy tinfoil hat as anything you've heard on any position. And those are being shared. Those are being posted as if, do they represent everybody? I don't know. So anyhow, next we get to the bullet. So the Second Amendment Foundation sponsors, creates, or I don't know what you call it, like it's their product, produces the Polite Society podcast efforts. And each week they do something called Bullet. And then on the weekends, it's the Bullet Weekend Edition, I guess. It used to be called the Daily Bullet and then the Weekly Bullet. But whatever. Brooke was on with Craig, and, it was a conversation. So worth checking out. Then you get to John Lott. So I don't know if Smeggy's out here. I suppose we should probably do Smeggy's. Oh, I didn't realize I had that comment in there. Probably had internet issues. So I don't know if we'll use Smeggy's thing tonight, but we got John Lott posting a series of 4 videos. Has anybody watched these this week? Show of hands. Anybody watch any of these videos from John Lott? So I'm going to go take a quick look at the poll since I just seen Echo jumped in. Good evening. That'll give me a chance to go say hey to everybody. So looks like everybody's thinking it's a great week for 2A. So we have great, good, okay, and come on. And 89% of the votes are coming in for great week. So I don't know. I'm probably between great and okay. No, I mean great and good, on the top end. But I don't know if it was great necessarily. Not that it was bad. It's just that there's been some really, really, really good weeks. And this one wasn't like super good with exclamation points or nothing. All right, we'll dig in some more. Oh, I was going to say hey to people. So we got Echo jumped in. Has DJ been here? Makojo's out there. Weston, good evening. And Woods. Am I missing anybody? If I'm missing anybody, oh, Mark. And maybe that's everybody. Daniel? No, Daniel's out there. Good evening. So, jumping back down here, we may do a 3D print. Oh, AR Guns is out here also. We may do a 3D print chat on the other channel after Gizzard tonight, depending on what Gizzard does. And I'm drinking some coffee right now, so more than likely I'll be doing some 3D printing later on tonight. If anybody's got ideas for 3D print ideas, let me know. Anyway, so let's get back into the list here. So I was mentioning John Lott, who we all know is a crime statistics researcher. He started out as a government employee, a statistician, somebody whose job was go around looking at numbers like a brain nerd. And as doing that job, he wasn't pro-gun or anti-gun, and I'm assuming he didn't own guns, because I don't remember him actually saying that, but I'm pretty sure he never owned guns. He was just some brain nerd who was a statistician for the government. And then he was like, these numbers do not mean guns are bad. And then he was like, I'm going to look at these numbers a little bit more. And then he was like, all right, now I'm pro-gun because these numbers tell us that guns are good. So I don't think he ever shoots or even owns any guns or anything, but he's a researcher and an author. And for a little while in Trump's administration, he was in charge of something. I can't remember what, but now he's back out again because Biden didn't want him there. But, he's been in technically in a couple of official roles, not necessarily as a gun person, but as a brain nerd. And he does stuff. He does book tours. I've seen him a couple of times here in Arizona on book tours when he wrote a book. He went around and did some talks, which were pretty awesome. Then, of course, at the Gun Rights Policy Conference, they usually give him some time to talk there. And even if he doesn't have a book coming out, he's always got something interesting that he's researching. Now he's a super brain nerd, so his research is kind of nerdy, kind of hard to keep up with sometimes. But or it's just super boring or not on something that's all that interesting. But it's always useful, and it's nice to have it in our inventory, right? In our archives, in our as our. What is wrong with you, puppy? So this week he posted. You know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do? Come here. Come here. Oh, now she's going to be like that. Then I'm not going to do it. So he posted these 4 videos, and they are going to get them copyrighted. So I'm not going to show them. They're from TV shows that I don't watch because I don't watch any TV. But it's from, I don't know what this one's from. This one doesn't, I don't know what it is either. This one says Law and Order SUV edition. So, and then this one, I don't know that one either. So they're all from like crime TV shows. They all look like Law and Order or something like that to me. And this first one, they're talking about how all the crimes in Mexico with violence and guns are due to gun shops in the United States. Nice. Then you've got these plastic guns one, which is hilarious. This guy in the airplane makes some guns out of like Tic Tac containers and puts bullets in them, 9mm bullets, of course. 9mm would be the caliber that's going to play along with this narrative. And then they shove these like Tic Tac containers into a Kleenex box, and then they shove them underneath the sink in an airplane. Like there's a whole bunch of cabinets and shit in the bathroom of an airplane. And then the bad guy goes into the bathroom later, and then he comes out with the guns. It's super realistic. Then you get the FBI pushing a machine gun myth, and basically it's a guy with a Glock. He has a Glock and a magazine extension coming out of the Glock, and then somebody comes in and shoots him, and of course when you die you immediately start shooting off all the ammunition in your Glock mag. So he shoots on the way down to the ground as he's dying. He's just shooting everybody in the room with his full auto Glock, because that's how you die. When you get shot with a gunfight, that's how you die. You go down shooting your whole magazine off. And then this last one is where they go, oh, this guy's got a Bushmaster 223. And then the one guy goes, that's a military grade firearm. And the other guy goes, like, that's specifically made to go through body armor. Just fantasy, anti-hatred bullshit. So it's definitely, it's funny to watch, but it's also insightful to show you. Insightful, not like to incite, but as illuminating to see how subtly they add these narratives. And if you're someone in the middle who doesn't understand or doesn't realize, then you don't know you're being programmed. You just think you're watching TV, and you might be watching it for the cool. I usually watch old TV shows because they're walking around in the 70s. So I look at the old cars and the old like signs and street signs and stuff, and just like the old buses and stuff. So I don't care what's going on in the movie. I'm just watching, like, an old car movie is the best because they're driving around looking at old cars. So if somebody's just looking at something else in this movie and they're just getting brainwashed or programmed by the narrative, that's how they push the Overton window over. Now they have to do it on the sly, like a bunch of parasites in the brainwashing thing when people are all half asleep and laying in their sofas. So one thing is you could not be half asleep in your sofa watching this shit. And another thing is put something out there that's useful. Look at Clover or anybody who's in here right now. Echo, right? Changing that narrative. AR Guns, changing that narrative. If Clover was in here, changing that narrative. G23, Weekly, changing that narrative, right? And then all the folks just making regular old videos like Ghost or whatever. Right? There's tons of people that are just showing how guns work. Normal people showing how guns are normal. Professor Yamane, guns are normal, right? So that's how you solve this narrative. And I think the fact that they've got to go so overboard and on the sly like that, I like to think that's an indication that we're winning. But let me know what you think. Let's see. Then we got Cape Gunworks. So it's my new favorite show. No, not really, but I like watching gun shop stuff. Number one, and they always show their gun shop. Number one, and then they show their studio, which is just the office of the gun shop. And if you like gun shops, then you like offices of gun shops because that's all the cool stuff that's happening in the gun shop right there. So it's the gun shop and it's the office of the gun shop, and then they do the show and they run the live stream while they're doing their radio show. So there's all that dead air and off time when they're doing their ads or whatever they do on the radio, what do they call them? Spots or whatever they call it on the radio. So during the live stream, you get the behind the scenes of the radio show. So it's win-win. You get to see the radio show and get behind the scenes DVD extras right away live. And they monitor what's going on, and they seem like they have a lot of fun. And now this week I learned that Shooting Gallery New England is a dude that works there. So if anybody watches Crump's Place, Shooting Gallery New England's on there. He hangs out on Locked and Loaded's show. Earlier today he was over there. So that dude works there, and he's in half of this dude's videos all the time. So definitely watching this. It's on Wednesdays. I recommend watching it because it's an authentic gun shop doing a real deal. There's some commercials and shit, but it's all honest commercials for a shop that's in Massachusetts, wherever the hell the Cape is. So somebody's got to tell me what the Cape is because I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's something. Is it the long, skinny part of Massachusetts? I have no idea what the Cape is. I don't know if I've ever been to Boston. Wait, I don't know if I've been to Massachusetts. Where's Massachusetts? I got to look at where it is. It might be in one of them states I haven't been to. Was there any Civil War battles in Massachusetts? Oh, there had to be probably. So maybe I've been there. Let me go in over here real quick and zoom out real quick. And probably zoomed out too much. Come on. Oh no, I'm sure. I don't know if I've been to Massachusetts. So I might need to go up there someday. So if somebody knows where the Cape is, tell me, and I got a map open. I can look at it. Is it that? It's that weird looking part that comes off that's like basically a peninsula. Is that the fancy way of saying peninsula in Boston or in Massachusetts? How come Rhode Island doesn't just take this whole chunk? Seems to me like Rhode Island's a punk. It would have just taken that whole chunk if I was them. All right, we'll keep going. I'll ask Charlie. He never hangs out around me. Let's see. Then we get Clover was on Jenny's show, I guess. So that was interesting, listening to Clover and Jenny chat a little bit. Jenny is a new channel. She's definitely new, and having Clover on is always good. Gets different POV. They chatted for a bit. Then you have Gun Prom. This is just a quick video letting people know about Gun Prom, which is coming up in June. It's on my thing that I was showing you earlier. Where do I got it? Right here. Gun Prom, Second Amendment Celebration Dinner, Saturday, June 18th. Let's see. Then after Gun Prom on Gun Owners Radio, who is live on Sundays, I think. They're live on Sundays with Amanda Suffolcool and Eye on the Target Radio, if I remember right. So then you get Crump. We're going to have a couple of Crump things here. And let's do this one first, I guess, was the first one. But Crump had Courtney on, who is something called Frontlines GOA. So I don't know, kind of interaction we get tonight. There's 12 people out there. Let me minimize this again. We're getting a pretty much a consistent with well, see, this is 6 people and this is 12, but I went off air, so I don't know what happened here. We'll refresh this. And okay, so it says there's 10 people watching. Assuming that that's 10 humans, I'm going to go ahead and end this because this poll seems to be overwhelming for everybody was digging this week for 2A, right? So I'm going to copy that and end the poll. Now, I don't want you to get scared. I'm going to edit the video that you're in right now. It's going to feel a little weird, right? It's going to feel like the chat has been turned inside out. And yeah, I'm having bad internet, so it's probably risky to do this, but I don't care. I just do stuff like this. So we're turning the chat over. I'm going underneath of it here. It's going to tickle a little bit, and I'm going to shove the results of the poll right here. And then forever people will know the results of that poll, because that's important for people to know. A lot of people don't keep track of their polls, and that's why in the future there's going to be some kind of a class or whatever, and they're going to be like, in the early 2020s, no one kept track of their poll results, and then some kid's going to be like, excuse me, Professor Robot, but this dude did keep track of his polls, and then that kid's going to get an A. You're welcome, kid, in the future. And in the future, suck it, Professor Robot. All right, now we're back to the scheduled situation here. I'm going to set up another poll, and that poll is going to relate to this GOA interview with Crump and this girl who is Frontlines GOA. So come on, look at this, how long it takes. A minute ago, she was freaking out. Now she's over there trying to eat like a fly or something. So whatever the fireworks are must have stopped. So Front Lines GOA. The school 2a.org. Actually, we're going to call it the new. Oh, look at this. New school 2a.org on the block. Get it? I don't know if that's funny or not, but I'm putting it in there. So we're going to put in here, yay, I will support it. I don't know if I want to put it like that. Why don't we put it, well, yes, it will succeed. How am I supposed to succeed? So we'll put it like that, and then let the robot spell it. Yes. And then maybe it might work out. And then no way this will work out. And then come on, man, you know the thing, right? But here's the deal. I'm going to edit one of these. So just when you thought what you were going to vote for, maybe it might work out. And raise awareness. Oh, man. All right, how about maybe it might raise awareness? And then I'll say both ways. Okay, but will make dollars. So no, this won't. So I'll make it say, because the stupid YouTube censorship only gives me so many characters in here. This won't work. Oh, I can't even put that in there either. Okay, get rid of out. Won't work, but will make money. All right, so now you can vote for this whole GOA Frontlines thing. As soon as the internet censorship, or I mean YouTube censorship lets it come up, the new school.2a on the block. Yes, it will succeed both ways, or maybe it might raise awareness. This won't work, but it'll make money, or come on, man, you know the thing. So what do you think? Now, here's the side quiz. How many of these school level organizations are you aware of that have come and gone? Because there's a reason why I asked the poll the way I did. So this is Crump interviewing Courtney, who is out of school, but running Frontlines GOA. So let's go check it out. I'm going to jump over to Crump's video.
Gentlemen, welcome to the project.
Show more. All right, we don't actually get a link to it, so we'll just type in Courtney Parker into the link. And we're getting a lot of stuff, so we'll put in Courtney Parker Frontlines. Lines. Okay. GOA. This is for colleges, DJ, not for Kids Safe. Kids Safe is for little kids. So now we got Frontlines GOA. Found it. All right. So be your own defender. GOA Frontlines. So you can sign up for email alerts. All right. Okay. Let me scroll this over because we're probably missing a bunch of things. All right. So you have your header up here, and then you have, oh, here we go. I guess I just have to open it up really wide. No, I guess not. This is just down at the bottom of the screen. So there we go. So I guess it's new and they don't have anything really in it yet. So, okay, that's fine. So Frontlines is basically a URL. But if anybody listened to that interview, let me know what you think. KidSafe's been around, huh? Derek is awesomeness. Yeah, that's great. KidSafe is for kids. This is Frontlines is for colleges. So I can't read that logo, but let's go try again. Frontlines. Wow, is my internet slow? Frontlines GOA. Boom. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry. G23, yeah, I was talking about this thing. All right, so now I'm going to, oh, they have a Twitter. So maybe I should be looking at their Twitter. Maybe I'm too old to be looking at a website when I could be looking at their Twitter. So frontline.gunowners.org. Oh, look at this. Now we got a much better place. So there are over 19 million college students in the United States, with 3 million of those students being freshmen each year. That's 3 million new voters and potential 2A activists. So their mission is to promote the education, protection, and what does that mean? Exertion of students. Oh, I guess that means exercising. Oh man, that's an awesome sentence. To promote the education, promotion, and exertion of students' inalienable right to keep and bear arms. You have to be a student to dig that because of all the sentence structure or whatever. Quick facts. The Second Amendment was adopted to the Constitution in 1791. Kids, 4 in 10 U.S. adults say they own or live with someone who owns a firearm. So now it's hip and trendy. 44% of Americans own a firearm. You could too. You could be one of them outliers. Montana has the highest on gun ownership. That's a weird thing to even say. 57% of felons are more afraid of an armed citizen than a cop. So be afraid. 393 million guns are owned by U.S. citizens. I don't like those facts. So it says the only Frontlines GOA, no, it says Frontlines GOA, the only no compromise student group. I'm sus. The kids would say, I'm sus. Big blank page under about. Oh, no, sorry, there's a big video. She's entertaining herself with eating a fly now. If you hear that noise in the background. So there is a video here. I'm not going to watch it because I'll copyright me. Resource Center. Okay, and then you got a store, so you can buy stuff. Probably a good idea to buy stuff. And then we'll quit harping on it. So yeah, there you go. Curious to see what people think. We'll keep going. Then Crump had another chat where he did an open line thing, and then I went in there, and because Night Strike and a bunch of 3D printer people were in there, and I wanted to ask them some questions. So I did. I asked them a couple of the questions, and pretty good chat. So now I know more about the characteristics of the different threads and polymers and whatnot. I think I might buy some polymers that are not bargain basement. I never thought about it, but he said some of the thread or whatever it's called, you know, can fluctuate in diameter. So as you're squirting the stuff, it warms up, it heats up, but it still, I guess, has something to do with the, it doesn't, I don't know, something about if the thing isn't consistent when you're shoving it through. It's probably the amount of pressure that's pushed on the nozzle. You know, you get a more consistent pressure. But so I've had some pretty ugly looking prints, and I never thought about it, but it could be the material itself. So it was a pretty decent chat, and I'm going to change some things to keep evaluating how we're printing over here. Let's see. So then Foss, talking about 3D printing, Foss had a chat or a video. Boy, she's acting super weird tonight. She's who made a video where he bought a 3D printed magazine loader where you put the rounds in it and you smash the magazine down onto the rounds. Oh, I see what you're saying. My point is saying that Kid Safe, which deals with little kids, to educate them and give them orientation and familiarization with firearms, is if they are taught young and it keeps going as they get older, then they are more likely not to be anti-2A. Not saying that they will be advocates. I think they would be advocates, but I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I think that kids that are grown up with guns and they start to see their rights challenged, they're more willing to be advocates, and I think you'd have to hold them back from being an advocate when they can see the writing on the wall, because kids are smart and they know what's up, right? They know everything. All right, so next up is our stuff, I guess. So I threw this in. It's not really, it's ours, but it's about the Pot of Gold auctions. We want to let people know that there's an auction next Tuesday. So we went online last Tuesday and looked at all the stuff. There's some pretty neat stuff in it. So we'll probably go live and watch it live as it ends on Tuesday. I'm going to do a quick break and drink something like pre-hiccup here so I don't get hiccups. I have to go all the way back down to the bottom, and let's put in this plug for Monday's show.
"2A New Media." We'll talk behind the scenes of 2A Media, so grab a camera, microphone, your keyboard, or a phone, and join in the creation of 2A Media online. We'll be talking nuts and bolts, give some tips and tricks, as well as discussing software, online platforms, how to network, finance, and have fun with your 2A projects.
That is on Mondays. All right, so next we're going to get to some of the military programming this week, which I'm a big fan of. So this is pretty neat. Saw this one coming. We've got Eli Crane, who is, if you ever heard of the Breacher, I don't know what it's called, Breacher Buddy, maybe? The 50 caliber what do they call 50 caliber bottle openers. He was on Shark Tank. He was a SEAL, got out and started this company making bottle openers with the 50 BMG case, and then went on Shark Tank and it even exploded even more than it was. So now he's a couple of years later, and he's running for Congress here in Illinois, or here in Arizona, and congressional unit, whatever it is, that's not Phoenix, and pretty interesting. So I've listened to a couple of our interviews with him back in the day. I don't know if anybody's been paying attention to either the Mic Drop podcast or some of the other ones that are out there, but he's been on as a guest, I think, on Combat Story and on Mic Drop, because I know I've seen a couple of them. I've seen his interview a couple of times, I think. And then I just recently watched this one on Vigilance Elite, which is Sean Ryan's show, and he's another SEAL. So he's now running for Congress, and I suspect, just as we saw the veteran entrepreneurs, sort of a couple of them get in the field and then there's a swarm of them, I suspect we're going to see quite a few veterans from different areas of the global war on terror. I suspect we're going to see quite a few of those folks coming to run for office. When you see people who've had real life experiences in other countries with the perspective of those countries and the life there, but then keep in mind that depending on what their role was in the military overseas, they had anywhere from intimate to adjacent knowledge of how decisions are made and how bureaucracy works, not just in the military bureaucracy, In the old days, when we worked in battalions and platoons and companies and armies, individual soldiers had very little awareness of where orders came from or why orders were. When units are in the size of 12 or 6 or dozens, it's much more intimate with your chain of command, and the chain of command is nowhere near as long as it used to be. And that means that, again, we have not just the people on the ground, but think about all the work that goes into getting those people on the ground and all the intelligent, aware individuals who are operating at precision and quality of skill to be able to provide all the different elements that are necessary, all the different resources that come together to do some of the operations that happened over the last 20 years in the global war on terror. Those people get out and they do go into other professions, but they're not inept. And we're going to see, I suspect, quite a few of the dissatisfied veterans jump into political races and take slots away from people who went to college for some sort of bullshit political science, whatever they did, some kind of degree on how to be a politician. Instead, we're going to see people who didn't go to college, or if they did go to college, it was on communications or something that they thought would help them in business. Or we're going to see pilots and engineers or people that were involved with the logistics or communications, or think about the drones or the electronics involved. Think about the whatever air traffic controllers are like nowadays. Has to be insane. And some of those people are going to look at the current assholes who are running things in the bureaucracy. And again, these are people with another level of awareness of that bureaucracy, another level of who owes favors to who. That has nothing to do with just, I had a financial situation with this person, or we made some kind of business deal. These are going to be, I know what you did, and now get out of my way. I suspect we're going to see more of that kind of stuff happening. So really looking forward to it. Let me take a look. Definitely, Eli is not a professional politician. He's not perfect, he'll tell you. He says it a couple of times in there. He's super, he does get questioned in the Second Amendment, and I don't think you can ask for a better answer. It's only an answer. No one can see the future or whatever, but it just doesn't seem like the type to be scripting and having alternative agendas based on his life experience and his prior interviews and stuff, where there seemed to be no indication he was going to be doing anything like running for office. So anyway, if you're interested, check him out. There's quite a few hours worth of listening there. They're not necessarily the same interview. I mean, they're not. They're definitely 4 completely separate hours. The guy lives really close to here, so I'm really going to be paying attention to his campaign and his adventure there. Looking over at the poll, we got 10 votes in. I don't think we're going to get more than that. So 40% of people are saying it might raise awareness. We're talking about the GOA's college awareness for 2A campaign. 30% of people are saying it'll do both things. 20% it'll say it won't work, but it'll make money. And then 10% of the people are working for Biden as an undercover agent, and they're only allowed to type in that last one. So if you ever have one of these polls and you want to filter out all the agents, they're only allowed to vote for the last thing on the list or the most negative thing on the list. So right now, people think that it's going to raise awareness, or that it's going to both raise awareness and make money. Or a couple of people think it'll only make money. I think it'll only make money, but I'd like to be wrong. I would definitely like to be wrong. It's just that there hasn't been a successful college-focused awareness organization that's lasted more than a couple of years, and it's never been backed by the Gun Owners America, Second Amendment Foundation, or FPC at any way that I'm aware of. I shouldn't say it any way that I'm aware of. Let's just say that I'm aware of, because it's possible, very much possible, that they were helped out by those organizations. And I'd like to think that maybe they were helped out, or at least I say there's the opportunity that they were helped out and those organizations learned something. And if it was GOA and they learned something and they're bringing all that new knowledge to the front, then that'll be awesome. They'll be successful, and I'll shut up about it. But until then, I'm sus. That's what the kids would say, sus. All right, who I'm not sus about is Roll Call. So Roll Call is a dude who's in Indiana, and he does a show. And Kingpin usually shows up around here. Didn't show up today. And Foss, who also never shows up here, but occasionally shows up here. Both of them, two dudes, threw some money down, and then I threw some stuff in a package and sent it over to Kingpin. No, I sent it over to Roll Call, and then Roll Call opened it up. So if you want to take a look at some loot, go over there and check it out, and then check out his shows on Wednesdays. And I imagine he'll be sending out some of that loot to people that watch the show. Here's the deal. I go to Gunstreamer once in a while and post videos over there. I also look at videos over there because back in the day when Gunstreamer was first built, we knew the people that built it. Good people, visited them in Utah, met with them at SHOT Show multiple times. Like to say, I really dug their project. Unfortunately, after a little while, like a lot of things, unfortunately, it didn't have the same momentum over time. And then at some point, lost contact with them, and that was frustrating. So it still exists, but I'm not really sure what's happening over there. But since it still exists, I still continue to use the platform, and I'll watch stuff over there where I don't necessarily look all around on YouTube unless it's the robots throw it at me, right? I'll see stuff on YouTube, but I don't look for stuff on YouTube. I'll look for stuff on Gunstreamer. So I looked around and I found this thing. It's a video from Lipsies. It's about 8 minutes long, and it's like a welcome to Lipsies, a little bit of their company history and a tour of their place. So it's pretty neat. Lipsies is one of the middlemen, I call them, the wholesalers, the people that buy in quantity from manufacturers and then hold it in their warehouses. And then they have an arrangements with gun shops mostly, pawn shops and other things, but mostly gun shops, to send the guns out either on order, like on demand, or kind of pre-orders. So there's all kinds of systems going on, but Lipsies might have, I don't know, there might be a new gun coming from Smith & Wesson, and Lipsies has 100 gun shops they work with, so they know, okay, I'm going to need at least 2 per gun shop, so I'll need 200, right? So right away, Smith & Wesson knows I'm going to be able to send 200 to Lipsies. So there's this infrastructure among the industry that, I don't have it all mapped out or anything, but it's like that. And Lipsies is integral, along with RSR, along with probably Brownells is similar. These large entities that are not necessarily manufacturers, but they provide product to gun shops, and they have their own shows. Sometimes they'll show up at the SHOT Show, so it's kind of interesting how they weave into the industry. So in this case, they're over there posting. I guess they did also post it on YouTube, but I watch it over on Gunstreamer. So whenever I find stuff on Gunstreamer, I'm going to try to mention it on this show so that we're not just YouTube centric over here. All right, going back to the end of the show here, we're looking at some of the stuff that we did this week. We do the Daily Gun Show. So I don't know what channel you're watching this on. Most of you are probably watching on the main YouTube channel, but we run the Daily Gun Show every weeknight at midnight Eastern. We talk about different things each day, and on Wednesday is our tactical quiz. This week, Wednesday landed on May the 4th, and since I'm a Star Wars fan, we did a May the 4th themed tactical quiz. Had a lot of fun, and I don't have my winners list. Did Baron win? I think Baron won. And also had to ask gun questions last week. That was pretty decent. I think we kept it right around 2 hours, so it wasn't too much of a marathon. But I'm going to make a longer show rather than a short show if I can help it. This week, one of the things we came up with last week was doing an entire show just focused on the AR-15. So that's already set up. Everybody's getting ready for it. Tomorrow, Saturday, we'll be doing the Ask Gun questions, and it'll be all AR related. So we'll talk about our experiences with the AR, and probably have some of them with us, and then answer AR specific questions. So if you have any specific questions, head over to askgunquestions.com and type them in there. Otherwise, we'll dig into part of the hundreds and hundreds of them we have in there, and we'll find some AR ones and talk about them. Let's see, was there a Lipsies presence at SHOT? I think so. They're definitely there. Whether or not they're set up, I don't remember, but I think they are. It's not something that anybody goes in their booths. a lot of the new people will go into like RSR's booth or Lipsy's or Midway or one of these things that's like a middleman, because the booth will have all kinds of interesting stuff, but it'll be like a Ruger rifle and a Smith & Wesson revolver and a something else shotgun and something's pistol, and they're all sitting on the same shelf, and you might walk in there to go, oh yeah, look at this, I'm going to look at this, and then you go, hey, can you tell me about this Ruger? And they'll be like, yeah, how many do you need to buy? And they'll be, so it's they're not there to tell you anything about the Ruger. They have them there as samples or whatever. So the Lipsy's booths are not necessarily for show as much as for practicality. Let's see. So then we have the maps. Season 2 of the maps. The 2A is coming out. We made another, dozen or so videos based on some new maps that are made up and published into new books. Stay tuned on a future Free Patch Friday or something, and we'll probably do some maps, the drafts of those map books, or maybe I'll ask Patreon, see if anybody wants them. All right, with that, we want to thank our Patreons again. We've been looking over at our Patreon blog, see how fancy it is with the pictures and whatnot. So much easier to read. Our 152 Patreons make it possible for us to spend the time each week to work on little projects like this one, bigger projects like the websites and things like this poster that we're coming up with all the calendar events for the firearms industry, and all the other stuff that we do. So thanks to them. Thanks to y'all for showing up live for the show this evening. I think we're getting out of here pretty much on time to go watch Gizzard. Is Gizzard live over there already? Am I quirking that dude? Let's jump over to subscriptions. We do have a store. It is Free Patch Friday. Let me take a second and throw the commercial back up again. If anybody buys anything over at the store today, going to have free stuff coming out.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
Right on. So we're back. So yeah, it looks like Gizzard is started over there. So we recommend you check out the Gizzard show. And if you're interested, a little bit later on, we'll be going live to 3D print, maybe chat about travel and tech over on our gear channel. See if anybody say anything on the way out of here. DJ's throwing up a link for our Minuteman University channel, our website, I should say. Thanks for that. That is where we keep a lot of information for activists. Have I 3D printed the DGS logo? Yep. A little while ago. Do we have pictures of it up there? I think we do over on the gear website side of Instagram. If I can figure out where I got my link at. Made a couple of patches. It didn't work good because I can't get my thread to go around it good. Oh, maybe I didn't post pictures of it. I thought I did. I guess I didn't. Did I post them on the real channel? Oh, I might have posted them over here. Maybe I didn't. I thought I did. I felt like I did. Maybe I didn't. All right, let's just say I didn't. Oh, no, there they are. So, yeah, there's a couple of different sized ones. And problem is I can't sew around them that good. So a couple people have them. I think I sent some out. I know I sent some out. All right, well, with that, thanks again, everybody, for showing up. Have a great week, and we'll be back to pick you up later.
Tonight's episode, photo finish.
Thank you for supporting our projects. If you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee, check out our Patreon channel.
The guys and gals at gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thank you for watching gunwebsites.com. Do 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 do.